You didn't click this video by accident. You were summoned. Something ancient, restless, divine inside you pulled you here. Through the noise, through the numbness, to remember a truth too powerful for the world to speak aloud. A truth they tried to bury beneath religion, ritual, and fear. You feel it, don't you? That quiet fire, that sacred discomfort, like a voice you've heard before, but can't quite name. They gave you sermons. Jesus gave you keys. Keys not to control you, but to awaken you. He didn't come to create followers. He came to ignite gods. And that's why they couldn't let his full message survive. Because Jesus spoke 7 radical truths, 7 divine codes that reveal who you truly are. And they erased them. Not because they were false, but because they were too true, too liberating, too dangerous. These weren't just sayings. They were awakenings. And someone decided you weren't ready to remember. But now the veil is lifting. And one by one, those 7 forbidden sayings return, each one more powerful than the last. And if you stay until the end, something in you will unlock, something ancient, something divine. So breathe, listen, remember, because now you'll see why they erased them. Forbidden saying 1. The kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and people do not see it. Gospel of Thomas, Logion 3. These were not poetic words. They were spiritual dynamite. They shattered the illusion that God lives somewhere else, that heaven is above your head, locked behind pearly gates, waiting to be earned. This one line from Logion 3 of the Gospel of Thomas was enough to undo centuries of religious control. And that's exactly why they tried to bury it. Because if the kingdom is not a reward for the righteous, but a present reality hidden in plain sight, then the entire game changes. You're not a sinner begging for entrance. You're a divine being with amnesia, already inside the palace, but blindfolded by fear, tradition, and false teaching. Jesus didn't say, "One day you'll enter the kingdom." He said, "It's already spread out before you." But your eyes can't see it. Why? Because we've been conditioned to look everywhere except here. To look up, not within. To seek temples, not truth. You were taught that Eden was lost, burned to ashes by sin. But this saying reveals the deeper truth. You never left Eden. You just forgot where you were standing. The tragedy isn't that heaven is far away. The tragedy is that it's here, woven into the soil, the silence, the scent of morning air. And you've been walking past it your entire life. We cry out to God, "Where are you?" And the divine whispers back, "Where are you?" This isn't a spiritual riddle. It's a diagnosis. You're not locked out of paradise. You're sleepwalking through it. And this is why they erased the saying. Because if the kingdom is already here, then you don't need a priest to access it. You don't need an institution to interpret it. You don't need permission to awaken it. The power returns to you, and systems of control crumble. This first forgotten key doesn't just unlock a door. It reminds you there never was a door, only a veil. And the moment you stop waiting for heaven to arrive is the moment you start seeing it was always here. So now I ask you, what if every breath you take is already inside the kingdom? What if you were never cast out, but simply closed your eyes? What if the lost paradise wasn't above the clouds, but beneath your feet? You've been told your whole life that you're on the outside looking in. But Jesus never said that. He said you were in it the whole time. You just didn't see it. Forbidden saying 2. Know what is in front of your face, and what is hidden from you will be revealed to you. Gospel of Thomas, Logion 5. You were told to search the skies for God, to chase miracles, decode prophecy, attend temples, read books. But the mystics, the true ones, knew better. They understood the greatest mystery was not out there, but right here, in the ordinary, in the overlooked, in the now. The second forbidden saying is not a metaphor. It is the keyhole to everything. Know what is in front of your face, and what is hidden from you will be revealed. We were trained to believe the sacred looks grand. Golden altars, thunder from above, angels with wings. But divinity hides in plain sight. In the steam rising from your morning cup, in the pause between two breaths, in the ache behind your eyes after a long night of silence. You walk past the divine every day, dismiss it, rush it, call it mundane. And that's why the hidden stays hidden. Jesus didn't say, "Find what's beyond you." He said, "Know what is right in front of you." Because the gate to heaven doesn't swing open through effort. It opens through presence. Not more striving, more seeing. This saying is dangerous because it gives you back your sight. It pulls your head out of the clouds and grounds you in the here and now, where God always was. And that kind of vision, it can't be sold, controlled, or contained. It's not about seeking visions. It's not about chasing teachers. It's about remembering that your life, your ordinary, aching, breathing life, is already soaked in the sacred. And when you finally see what's been right in front of you all along, the veil begins to lift. The mystery was never hidden. It was ignored. And the moment you pay attention, the moment you remember how to look, everything that was hidden begins to reveal itself. Not from the sky, not from a book, but from you. Forbidden saying 3. When you make the two one, then you will enter the kingdom. Gospel of Thomas, Logion 22. They told you that holiness means perfection, that you must cut off what is dark, silence what is angry, and cast out what is human. But Jesus said something radically different. He didn't say, "Deny your shadow." He said, "Unite it." When you make the two one, when the inner is as the outer, and the outer as the inner, then you will enter the kingdom. These words were not philosophy. They were alchemy, a sacred formula for transforming the soul. Religion taught you to split yourself in half. Light versus dark. Sacred versus sinful. Spirit versus flesh. It told you to exile your desires, hide your rage, wear a mask of purity. But wholeness was never about pretending to be clean. It was about becoming complete. This saying reveals what religion feared the most: that God is not found in purity, but in integration. You are not meant to be perfect. You are meant to be whole. The kingdom isn't entered by climbing up, but by diving inward and making peace with your own war. Your shadow isn't your enemy, it's your missing half. And when you embrace it, not suppress it, your rage, your sorrow, your fire, your longing, you don't become less spiritual. You become more real. That is the sacred marriage, the divine union, spirit and body, silence and storm, light and shadow, as one. And here's the truth no one told you. God is not a being sitting in judgment. God is the container of all things, holy because it holds both chaos and order, wrath and mercy, death and resurrection. And when you become that kind of container too, the kingdom doesn't just appear, it unfolds from within you. This is why they had to silence this saying. Because once you integrate what religion told you to reject, you become powerful in a way no system can manipulate. You stop asking for permission, you stop apologizing for being human, and you start burning with a light that no doctrine can dim. This isn't about becoming flawless. It's about becoming true. And when the two become one, when you stop fighting yourself, you don't just enter the kingdom, you realize you were the gate all along. Forbidden saying 4. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. Gospel of Thomas, Logan 70. This is not just a warning. It is law. Not religious law, but the kind of law the soul is built on, spiritual gravity. Jesus didn't say you might suffer if you hide your truth. He said you will be destroyed. And the destruction? It's quiet. It starts as anxiety, emptiness, a slow burning ache that you can't explain. It grows in your silence, in the things you almost said, the passions you buried, the dreams you abandoned for safety. It grows every time you dim your light to make others comfortable. Every time you shrink your truth to fit someone else's version of God. Because what lives inside you, if it doesn't come out, doesn't stay still. It turns inward. It festers. And what once was sacred potential becomes poison. Your unlived life becomes a slow death. Your suppressed purpose becomes your suffering. But here's the power. The opposite is also true. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. Not might, will. This is the moment of transfiguration, not by religion, but by revelation. When you allow the divine within you to flow through you, through words, through action, through presence, you are not saved by something outside. You are saved by becoming who you really are. This is the truth they fear, that God doesn't dwell in buildings or rituals, but in your expression, that you are not an empty vessel needing to be filled, but a sealed chamber ready to be opened. That when your inner fire finally breathes, it doesn't just save you. It changes everything. This is why they erased it. Because this one saying eliminates the need for control. You don't need someone else to save you. You need to remember what you've been carrying since before birth. The divine didn't abandon you. It hid inside you, waiting, pressing, longing to be brought forth. So the question is not, will God help me? The question is, will I bring forth what God planted in me? Because if you do, you will rise. And if you don't, it will rot you from the inside out. This isn't metaphor. It's spiritual physics. And now, you are the equation waiting to be solved. Forbidden saying 5. There is a light within a person of light, and it lights up the whole world. If it does not shine, it is dark. Gospel of Thomas, Logan 24. You were taught to wait for the light, that it would come from above, from the sky, from a Savior. Someday. But Jesus said the opposite. He said the light is already within you, and if it doesn't shine, the world isn't just missing something beautiful. It's plunged into darkness. This is not poetry. It's not symbolism. It's a cosmic warning. The world does not change when leaders shift or laws are passed. It changes when the light inside you ignites. And if you refuse to shine, if you stay small, stay silent, stay safe, the entire world loses color. You were never meant to be a mirror reflecting someone else's holiness. You are a flame, meant to set reality ablaze with divine brilliance. But that fire, it waits for your permission. Because God never forces awakening. Heaven doesn't crash down, it erupts from within. This light is not earned, it's not given, it's uncovered. But here's the tragedy. Most people will never light their flame. They'll wait for a miracle, wait for a sign, wait for permission that was never required. And their light will die with them. Jesus knew this. That's why this saying had to be buried. Because a person who shines from within becomes untouchable, unstoppable, uncontrollable. They don't need to be told what's true, they live it. They don't seek the divine, they become it. And when one person shines, others begin to remember their own fire. A chain reaction begins, and soon the darkness can no longer hold its form. So ask yourself, what if the light you're waiting for is actually waiting for you? And what if the greatest sin isn't darkness, but refusing to shine? Forbidden saying 6. If two make peace with each other in this one house, they will say to the mountain, move, and it will move. Gospel of Thomas, Logan 48. This isn't a metaphor. It's a spiritual law. And like gravity, it works whether you believe it or not. Jesus didn't say the mountain would move if you shouted louder or prayed harder. He said it would move if the two became one, if they made peace inside the house. But what house? Not the temple, not a church. You are the house. And inside you, two forces have been at war your entire life. The mind and the heart, the masculine and the feminine, the will and the surrender, the fire and the water. And as long as they remain divided, fighting for control, your power is fractured. Your light flickers. But the moment they reconcile, something ancient begins to unlock. Jesus wasn't teaching religion. He was teaching spiritual physics, how to align the inner world so precisely that the outer world bends and responds. He was showing you how creation responds not to effort, but to harmony. The mystics always knew, when your inner war ends, miracles begin. And that's why this saying was buried. Because if you understood that your inner union is what births outer power, you would stop looking for saviors. You would stop begging mountains to move. You would become the force that moves them. The truth is, reality isn't changed by shouting, it's changed by resonance. And resonance only happens when your soul is no longer divided against itself. That's when your voice carries weight. That's when your presence shifts rooms. That's when your life becomes a portal for transformation. You don't move mountains by force. You move them by alignment. So I ask you now, what if your chaos isn't your curse, but your classroom? What if the parts of you that fight were never meant to be silenced, but brought into sacred conversation? And what if, when you stop choosing sides within yourself, you become what the world has been waiting for? The mountain isn't the problem. The split inside you is. Make peace there, and the world will move with you. Forbidden saying 7. Whoever drinks from my mouth will become as I am. I myself shall become that person. Gospel of Thomas, Logan 108. This is the final saying, the one so radical, so uncontrollable, so divine, it had to be buried beneath 1,600 years of dust and doctrine. Because in just a single sentence, Jesus doesn't ask for worship. He demands transformation. He doesn't call you a follower. He calls you an equal. Whoever drinks from my mouth will become as I am. Not similar, not close, as I am. This isn't a metaphor. It's a spiritual technology. He's not asking you to admire the Christ. He's inviting you to become the Christ. This is the forgotten path of divine embodiment, not a religion of guilt, but a remembrance of your own buried light. And when he says, I myself shall become that person, he's not losing himself in you. He's awakening himself through you. The Christ isn't a man, it's a frequency, a flame. And once you drink deeply from that well, once the words of the Master become the wisdom within, there's no more separation, no more distance, only union. And that's what systems of power feared most, because a soul that realizes it is divine cannot be dominated, cannot be sold salvation, cannot be ruled by fear. The line between teacher and student disappears. The Savior no longer stands above you, but awakens within you. And that is why this saying had to be erased, because it makes you dangerous, not to God, but to every lie that ever told you God was far away. When you drink from his mouth, you absorb not just truth, but identity. You don't just remember the message, you become the messenger. And now, something ancient stirs within you, a recognition, a return, not to a doctrine, but to your divine blueprint. You were never meant to admire the Christ from a distance. You were meant to ignite with the same flame. This final code doesn't point to a God outside you, it unveils the God within you. So place your hand on your heart. Feel that warmth, that steady rhythm. That is not just a muscle. It's the Christ flame waiting to rise, not from a tomb, not from a sky, but from you. And when it does, the world will never be the same. You didn't just watch this video, you were summoned. Something ancient in you remembered these words. Not as new information, but as forgotten memory. These 7 forbidden sayings weren't meant to impress you. They were meant to ignite you. Because the truth is, you were never waiting on a sign. You are the sign. You are the prophecy in motion. The light rising, the portal opening, and now you stand at the threshold, not of belief, but of becoming. You are not a follower. You are not a spectator. You are a living transmission of the divine code, written in stardust and blood, in longing and light. And now the question echoes. Will you remember who you are? Will you bring forth what was buried? Will you stop hiding your fire behind false humility and awaken the Christ within? Because the world isn't waiting for another religion. It's waiting for you. Lit from the inside, grounded in truth, burning with the unshakable knowing that heaven was never above you. It was in you all along. This transmission is not the end. It is the beginning. A flare sent through the veil to find the hidden ones, the remembering ones. And if you feel that fire in your chest right now, then you are one of them. Now share this with one other soul who's ready to awaken, not for views, but to send a ripple through the silence. Subscribe, not as a gesture, but as a vow that you will keep walking the path, keep fanning the flame, and keep becoming the light that they tried to erase. You were never watching a video. You were being activated. And now, you are the activator. The light is rising, and it begins with you.